The Muzaffarid dynasty was a Persian dynasty which came to power in Iran following the breakup of the Ilkhanate in the 14th century. At their zenith, they ruled a kingdom comprising Iranian Azerbaijan, Central Persia, and Persian Iraq. Rise to power. The Muzaffarids were originally from Arabia and had settled in Khorasan from the beginning of caliphal rule there. They stayed in Khorasan up until the Mongol invasion of that province, at which point they fled to Yazd. Serving under the Ilkhans, they gained prominence when Sharaf al-Din Muzaffar was made governor of Maybud. He was tasked with crushing the robber bands that were roaming around the country. Sharaf al-Din's son, Mubaraz al-Din Muhammad, was brought up at the Ilkhan's court but returned to Maybud upon the death of the Ilkhan Uljatu. In around 1319 he overthrew the Artabeg of Yazd and was subsequently recognized as governor of the city by the central Ilkhan government. Following this he began fighting against the Neguderis, a Mongol tribal group. He managed to face this crisis with a minimum of loss. In the wake of the loss of Ilkhan authority in central Iran following the death of Abu Sa'id, Mubaraz al-Din continued to carry out his expansionary policy. In 1339 or 1340 he invaded the province of Kerman and seized it from its Mongol governor, Qutb al-Din b. Nazir. Qutb al-Din was able to retake the province for a short time after receiving aid from the Qartai dynasty of Herat. But Mubaraz al-Din permanently gained control of Kerman in late 1340. The city of Bam was besieged and conquered a few years after this. After the conquest of Kerman, Mubaraz al-Din became a rival of the neighboring Injuids, who controlled Shiraz and Isfahan. Although the Muzaffarids and Injuids had traditionally been on friendly terms with one another, the Injuid Abu Ishaq's desire to gain Kerman led him to start a drawn-out conflict with the Muzaffarids in 1347. He unsuccessfully besieged Yazd, after which his fortunes declined rapidly. Defeated on the field in 1353, Abu Ishaq was forced to take refuge in Shiraz and finally surrender. He managed to escape from Shiraz and fled to Isfahan, but Mubaraz al-Din pursued him, took the city and executed the Injuid ruler. Fars and western Iran were now under his control. With the destruction of Injuid authority, the Muzaffarids were the strongest power in central Iran, and Shiraz was made their capital. Mubaraz al-Din's strength was such that when the Khan of the Golden Horde, Yani Beg, sent an offer to become his vassal, he was able to decline. In fact, he pushed on into Azerbaijan, which Yani Beg had conquered in 1357. He defeated the Khan's governor Akichuk and occupied Tabriz, but realized that he could not hold his position against the Jalayirids troops marching from Baghdad and soon retreated. The Jalayirids would therefore maintain a hold on Tabriz, despite further attempts by the Muzaffarids to take it. Mubaraz al-Din was known as the cruel ruler, and soon afterwards 1358, his son Abul-Fawaris Shah Shuja blinded and imprisoned him. A temporary reconciliation was reached, but it failed to last and he died, again in prison, in 1363. Reign of Shah Shuja. Shah Shuja proved to be a less of a tyrannic figure, but he was constantly fighting with his brothers, causing a long period of instability. In 1363 he marched against his first brother Shah Mahmud, who had been given control of Isfahan, although a peace was soon brokered. In the following year, however, Shah Mahmud, with the support of his father-in-law Sheikh Uvais of the Jalayirids, invaded Fars and captured Shiraz. Shah Shuja would not be able to reconquer his capital until 1366. Shah Mahmud would continue to play an influential role in Iranian politics, using his marriage alliance to claim Tabriz from the Jalayirids after Sheikh Uvais died in 1374. He occupied the city but soon gave up after he was struck by illness. He died the next year, allowing Shah Shuja to occupy Isfahan. Shah Shuja then marched on to Tabriz himself, but was forced to turn back when internal conditions in Fars deteriorated. His second brother Shah Muzaffar's son, Shah Yahya, rose in revolt in Isfahan. Having to make peace with the Jalayirids, Shah Shuja offered to marry his son Zayn al-Abidin to a sister of the Jalayirid ruler Hussein. The Jalayirids refused the offer and invaded, although Shah Shuja managed to prevent him from getting any further than Sultaniya. Before dying in 1384, he named his son Zayn al-Abidin his successor and his third brother, Imad ad-Din Ahmad, as governor of Kerman. Not satisfied with the arrangement, Shah Yahya advanced against Shiraz, but was expelled from Isfahan by the city's populace and was forced to flee to Yazd. On his deathbed, Shah Shuja wrote a letter to Timur, who was then campaigning in Azerbaijan, in which he gave his son's loyalty to the conqueror Muzaffari decline. When Zayn al-Abidin succeeded his father, he quickly ignored the declaration of loyalty. Timur therefore marched into the Muzaffarid lands. He came to Isfahan, where the governor gave him control of the city, but a rebellion in the city killed any goodwill Timur had, resulting in a slaughter of the populace. Zayn al-Abidin fled from Shiraz in an attempt to make it to the Jalayirids in Baghdad, who were enemies of Timur. However, he encountered Shah Yahya's brother Shah Mansur, who imprisoned him. Shiraz soon fell to Timur. Shah Mansur and Imad ad-Din Ahmad, along with other Muzaffarid princes, went to Shiraz to declare their loyalty, whereupon Timur restored them to their positions. The conqueror soon after returned to Transoxiana. Shiraz was given to Shah Yahya. Unfortunately, the Muzaffarids soon began to resume their local feuding. Shah Mansur began by expelling Shah Yahya from Shiraz, whereupon Shah Yahya again fled to Yazd. Shah Mansur then conquered Arbak, but failed to take Isfahan. Meanwhile, Zayn al-Abidin escaped from prison and reached Isfahan. An alliance was then formed between Zayn al-Abidin, Shah Yahya and Imad ad-Din Ahmad against Shah Mansur. The alliance proved to be unstable, however, and when they met Shah Mansur's army at Ferg, Shah Yahya failed to show and Imad ad-Din Ahmad quickly retreated. The latter met Shah Mansur again, this time at Fasa, but lost and was captured in Ray. He was blinded and imprisoned. Shah Mansur then approached Kerman, where Sultan Ahmad and Shah Yahya had gone after the events at Ferg. He offered a common alliance against Timur, but was rebuffed and thereafter returned to Shiraz. Timur, who while campaigning elsewhere took note of these events, decided in 1392 that a campaign against Shah Mansur was in order. Shah Mansur gained the Sarbaida Muluk as his ally. Muluk was sent to defend of Kashan and the Muzaffarid northern front. By March 1393 Timur had advanced down to Shushtar and Dizful, installing a Sarbaida as governor there. He also freed Imad din Ahmad from imprisonment. Shah Mansur fled Shiraz, but then turned around and met Timur's forces. With an army weakened by desertions, he fought bravely but was forced to retreat. Attempting to reach Shiraz, he was captured by forces of Prince Shah Rukh and was decapitated. The other Muzaffarid princes then again swore allegiance to Timur. They were received honorably by the conqueror, but on May 22 in Qumisha they were executed. Only Zayn al-Abidin and Sultan Shibli survived the purge. They were sent to Samarkand. Muzaffarid rulers: Mubaraz al-Din Muhammad, Shah Shuja, Shah Mahmud, Shah Shuja, Zayn al-Abidin, Shah Yahya, Sultan Ahmad, Sultan Abu Ishaq, Shah Mansur.